So what's going on today?
Today we are gonna start building our helm panel. I'm Roberta.
And I'm Duca.
And together we are on the mission of bringing this sailboat that was neglected for over 22 years back to life.
So don't forget to subscribe and to join us every Monday for a new episode. Today is a really special day. I think today our Helm Station panel that we've been working on for, I don't know, over 2 months might be ready. We're gonna go to Reginaldo's shop and check, because if it's ready, we want to bring to the boat today and start installing in place. That's gonna be so cool. And with that installed, we can install the the throttle cables, and we can splash the boat. That's it. That's pretty good.
I hope it's ready.
It's gonna be really cool. It's a surprise because when we left to our hometown, it was basically ready but not painted. Now it might be painted, and that's gonna look so cool. Not yet. Yeah. This actually illustrates the entire process of building this panel. I need to be honest. Reginaldo is helping us so much, but he's really busy. Right now he's working full-time in 3 boats. One of these boats, 2 of these boats, he's building the entire thing. Again, all the furniture, everything, the entire inside. So it's something that we cannot complain. He needs his time, and he do our panel on his spare time. So people that work with Reginaldo help him when they have nothing to do. They always have something to do. But when they find some spare time, they work on our panel. And now it's really close. They are prepping for, in maybe 2 hours from now, apply primer. And on Monday, they are gonna apply the final coat of paint. And we need to wait a little bit more. So we're gonna go back to the boat, work on something else, and then we're gonna come back to film the primer. Yeah, let's go. Primer it is. I don't know if we told you, but we're gonna do a modification to the bimini. The bimini works fine the way it is, but the problem is when it rains too much, it creates
a belly.
A belly, yeah, a big belly. Right now, when you're not sailing, we can tie this up to the boom and it's fine. But once you're sailing, we're in trouble. It works to just come here and do like this and the water will leave. But in the future, we want to have some solar panels on the top, and we want to have a little bit more structure. So we have 3 new bars that we're just gonna screw. One here, one in the center, and one here. And then we need to do a small modification just to create a connection in between the bar and the bimini. So it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a good, just wait and see. But I need my assistant behind the camera now. You can do it.
I'm also curious to know how it's gonna be. We still have some corrections to do.
Stainless steel work is always like that. So we have an angle here that should be the opposite. This should be in this angle, so we can screw to this little bracket. So if the bracket's here, we need to twist this piece so we can screw this to this. And then it's gonna be perfect, because I think it's really good. I really like the idea.
Today's Sunday and the weather is not working, so we are gonna take this time to show you how our helm panel was built from the scratch. If you're new here and you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest you to pause this video and go to this one, and then this one is gonna make a lot more sense. No, this is not our helm panel. This is just the mock-up. The 3rd mock-up. That you got to understand a little bit better the process, and we have a mock-up that we really like, it's about time to move forward.
So what's going on today?
Today we are gonna start building our helm panel.
Yeah, actually today we're not building the helm panel, but we are building the sheets of fiberglass that's gonna be the panel. That's so cool.
They start. The original idea was to build a mock-up and use this mock-up as a plug to create a mold. But as it's gonna be a one-off panel, Reginaldo thought it was easier and cheap to build it using reinforced sheets of fiberglass that he could build at his shop. The first step to build this huge fiberglass panel was to apply wax on a glass panel, and then to apply a gel coat on the top of the wax. With the gel coat dried, Antonio started building layers of isophthalic polyester resin, fiberglass mat, and fiberglass cloth. At this stage, there were 2 layers of each one, achieving a thickness around 1/4 of an inch. Babe, what's going on?
Magic. Yeah, basically now we have already the fiber, how do I say, plywood. This is a fiberglass. Yeah, basically it's a huge piece of fiberglass, flat one. So he's gonna cut all the 10 plates that he did on plywood, and then Reginaldo is gonna put them together, reinforce with more fiberglass, and then do the finishings. And soon we're gonna have a helm panel, and we're gonna have a boat that we can go sailing. Hopefully.
Can't wait for this part.
Sounds great. Sounds great. We're getting there. Don't worry. Just stick with us, and we're gonna do that really soon. Pitoquinho! Ô Pitoco! Ô Pitoco! We came to see our panel. Now we have all the panels cut to the right dimension. It's time to start assembling them together, to glue them together. I see light on the end of the tunnel. That's so cool. Yeah, let me explain you how this is gonna work. This is that plate that Antonio did, one huge piece of not plywood, I would say glass. So these have 4 layers of fiberglass, and now they are assembling it all together, each one of the pieces. After that, they're gonna reinforce the inside part. This is gonna have twice this thickness in the end, because we're gonna have a lot of cloth inside, and on the corners also reinforcement, so they can have enough thickness that they can cut this edge. So they're gonna trim and like grind this edge and reinforce also with fiberglass the edges, and then it's gonna become one piece, one solid piece, and the bottom is much stronger. This is solid fiberglass, the size of my finger. This is huge. This is really strong, and the reason for that is because we are gonna also have this on the top, so we need reinforcement. This is gonna be screw on the top. That sounds great. I think it's gonna be awesome.
This is part of the old thing.
Yeah, we just cut the old one, and because we need space to run the wires and the cables and everything, so these needed to go out. That was the only way we could find to do. But I think it's gonna be really strong, and strong enough. And we're gonna do a test when it's ready. Reginaldo said I can climb on the top, and it's gonna be strong enough. Now the next step is to glue this together, so they can start doing the reinforcements. Love it. it's not gonna be possible to film painting these today because, you know, it's like painting cabin. There's gonna be a lot of dust inside and it's gonna ruin the camera. You guys don't want that, right? No ruining the camera. So next time we open the curtain, this panel is gonna be at least on the primer. That means one uniform color. And then we're gonna wait until Monday, that means 2 days for the primer to properly dry. And on Monday we're gonna do the final finishings. And I think by the end of next week we're gonna have a Helm Station ready, and then we can paint the bottom of the boat and we can splash the boat. That's gonna be so cool. We can't wait. It's just like we're now counting days and hours. Take the last look. With this coat of primer, it's gonna be for the first time a uniform surface. That's so cool. And after this one we can paint, you know, the finishes. Pretty good. Now all we need to do is to do all the modifications. Sorry for the noise, but they are moving a boat just behind of us. Yeah, so now this is perfect in place. Now we need to get the old canvas and do the modifications. I'm not sure if we're gonna do it now or later. Doesn't matter. This is the worst part. The canvas is easy to do later, but with this in place, that means that we can have solar panels on the top in the future. That's pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna have probably 2 or 3 flexible solar panels on the top of this bimini, and that's gonna bring us to close to 1000 watts, maybe 900 watts. That's pretty good. I think that's enough.
We are waiting the whole day to paint the piece because it's been really humid the whole day and it's not gonna dry really well. So now it's the correct time to do it. What's the news?
We're really excited because the panel never been so ready as it is. The panel is so ready. I mean, the only thing left to do is to leave on the sun to dry because, you know, it needs like a sun bath. And then after a couple of days we can polish the panel because we want a... We didn't work for 3 months on this panel to not be like perfect, right? So we are just waiting for properly to dry and then we're gonna polish and bring back to the boat.
Let's tell them the
truth.
The truth?
The truth, nothing but the truth. Pause this video and tell me what was wrong on the painting process. If you see anything that didn't make sense, didn't match, didn't make sense, comment below. And now I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm pretty sure you didn't notice. Did you? What was? wrong.
Can you see that the primer was gray and then it was white?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it took so long to paint the panel. First of all, we didn't find a good weather. It was always too humid to paint, and we kept waiting. And one thing about Reginaldo, the guy that is helping us with the panel, he won't paint in a humid time. He won't do it. If it's above 75%, he say, we need to wait. Tomorrow, maybe, but I won't paint. Because he knows he is gonna do a mistake. And we did another mistake that wasn't the humidity, was the primer. This primer was a leftover primer from when we paint the boat. And I had no idea the expiration date was too short. And Junior painted the panel on Saturday, and by Monday it wasn't properly dry. I mean, it was dry to the touch, but it wasn't like strong enough. And then he was like, no, the weather maybe is not collaborating, so let's wait another day and wait another day. And by Wednesday was still not 100% dry.
Then we found out that the primer was expired.
Not the primer, the catalyst.
The catalyst.
Yeah, and with the catalyst expired, it wouldn't dry. So that means that they need to send all over again the entire primer and apply a new coat. 3 new coats of another primer, a new primer with a new catalyst. We need to be honest, because otherwise it's not the real thing. We didn't shoot because it was too much of the same. We just thought, we just tell what happened and then, we move on.
So you don't do the same.
So you don't do the same. So always be careful, check the expiration date of the catalyst. It won't work if it's expired. Yeah.
Hashtag stay the tip.
Yeah. Translating from Portuguese to English, it just doesn't work sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, but we need to concentrate. Today we're just so happy that we are. Yeah, the reason why we're so happy today is because we are finally start sanding the bottom right after we finish shooting this, because
it's a bad job, but we're so excited to start it.
Yeah, it's a terrible sanding and sanding. We're gonna spend 2 days sanding the bottom of the boat because, as you guys know, we had a lot of barnacles when we left the water, and we want to guarantee we have a good surface to apply the new primer.
A lot of people have been asking if we were gonna keep the same anti-fouling paint.
We will. The only difference,
And why we had that many barnacles?
We are gonna keep the same paint. We believe the problem with the barnacles wasn't the paint itself, but it was the place we are. We are right next to the biggest ship harbor in the entire country, in a mangrove. That means it's impossible not to have barnacles here. The only way not to have barnacles here is not to be here, and that's our goal this time, is to use the same anti-fouling paint, but to leave this place
as soon as we can.
Yeah, because if we stay here, we're gonna have barnacles again. There's no way we're not gonna have barnacles. So the plan is to splash the boat hopefully on the 14th of June or on the 21st. And the reason for that is because we want to be hanging on the travel lift for 2 days, because they don't work on Sunday, so they can hang us on Saturday afternoon, and we spend all the way to Monday. And on this time we can paint the centerboard and we can paint all the supports, and then we can splash the boat. We are not sure if we're gonna make to the 14th because the weather this week won't be the best, probably.
Yeah.
But if we manage to splash on the 21st, I'm already really excited. And
it's here. It's knocking our door.
Yeah, what we are gonna do now is just to sand the bottom really strongly, because this paint it's been on the dry for 6 months, so it's not worth anything anymore. So we're gonna take as much as we can, all the way to like the paint that's really has a really good bounce to the hull, and then we're gonna give, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 coats of fresh paint.
I think they can see this on the not the next video, the next Monday, the other one, right?
Yeah, I have just one more disclaimer. I like disclaimers, as you can tell. Yeah, next week you won't see the panel. Next week we're gonna skip 1 week, because during this week while we were painting the panel, we did so many other little things that are important. Like, you know the small tasks that are really necessary in order to set sail. Now it's, the finer details, like locking the berries properly in place, because the berries...
Tell them.
No, I just...
They're gonna see it next week. They can.
So
be
expect
surprised.
next week us trying to get the boat as ready as possible to actual sail, not to splash. I mean, to go out and sail, because there is a huge difference between sitting on the water and sailing and moving the boat. Things need to be locked in place, and all these need to be ready.
And we are preparing the mandatory things as well.
And also the mandatory things for the boat. And that's really cool, because if we are doing that, that means that we strongly believe we're going to set sail soon. We really want to try the new sails. The new sails been sitting on the bow for 6 months.
I
and we
have
can wait
never
to see.
seen the Genoas.
Yeah, we really want to put the sails up and try the sails. And the goal now is to do that, to splash the boat, to spend no more than 2 weeks, hopefully, on the water here. And then we're finally going to set sail south. And that's going to be a really, really different chapter on our lives. Because the first time we're going to set sail, and our house is going to be the boat. Because we had a boat for 5 years. But the boat was always just temporary, just like 3 days and then you go back home, and 3 days and you go back home. And this time we're going to actually stay on the boat. That's so cool. We can wait. Yeah, it's
just a disclaimer. We said 2 weeks on the water because we need to try the sails, we need to try the engine, and we need to calibrate the compass, and we need to check the equipment, and that's why 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks is just enough time to run the engine, enough to make sure we are safe to leave. The passage we are gonna do is not a huge passage, but it's already like
2 days.
Yeah, it's like a 270 nautical miles passage. So we want to have a proper engine working, and we go maybe like 30 nautical miles outside of the coast. So it's good to have a engine that works and sails that you know that works properly. And it's just sea trial. Set sail. Enough talking, Duca. It's time to welcome on board our new patrons
for this week.
So welcome on board.
Meet
Skyler,
Kelly and Jeff.
Merci.
And we also want to thank all the donations through PayPal.
So thanks a lot, Mets,
Auntie,
Bruce,
and Randy.
Guys, thanks so much. We really appreciate your support. And I think I'm gonna stop talking for today because I need to go down and start singing. We'll see you guys
next Monday.
week. See you guys next Monday.
See you.